And there we go. There we go. Wow. Okay. And what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Tristan's Shop Talk TST Live series. Thank you for coming through. Thank you for, ladies and gentlemen. I kind of fell off for a little bit. Fell off, definitely. What can I say? Life fills your time up with work and yet this and that and the other and then more of this and that and then just keeps rolling and rolling. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for another making it to another episode of TST Live. And yeah, kind of fell off the map for a little bit. Other than that, just glad that. Let me go ahead and fix this mic stand. Yeah, so I guess everything else being said, yeah, thank you. It is July 11th, 2025, 9. Uh, yes, I will be in class tomorrow. I will be in class. Um, so yes, on everything happening recently, from UFC, the White House to uh, Canopy Farms and California getting hit up by the ice to now I'm hearing different things about the Department of Justice. Bondi causing some stir up between, the FBI and also Pam Bondi of Department of Justice not getting along to Devontae getting arrested again. Devontae got arrested again. So I don't know what's going on there. Uh, you know, apparently it's another baby mama drama. So, and then also the Texas floods. So, I mean, what can I say? All this crazy things happening, um, and with all due respect, there was these pics that I still can't imagine. You know, which I'm referring now back to the Texas floods that happened in Kerr County here in Texas, and just paying my respects to that of no that happening is a very sad situation. um so I mean, pictures to prove it. And nope, 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 there we go. No, I want to share this one. Okay, so there we go. No, okay, well, I don't know what I did there, but I did something. All right, well, I guess that's how I'll do it anyways. So this is one picture from the flood. This is what recently happened. This was in Kerr County. Then we also have this one that also happened as well. And it's just a sad case all around. And you know, and, let me try to add this other one. So work with me. It's been a long weekend. Last week. It's been a long week. So um okay, let me see if I can bring this pic up. So I was just gonna show some more pics of what happened over there, and just how serious this was, and it was just sad all around. And so I had already wanted to come out and talk about different things. I was trying to keep it consistent, but like I said, I got extremely busy. Um, this last month for me has just been crazy. So, I mean, that's what I'm explaining, that I'm drawn to the floods, I'm drawn to the LA riots, I'm drawn to so many, when at the beginning of the summer, the LA riots started, which was because of ICE had started doing more deportations, and it was more obvious of doing the deportations in public. So now, fast forward, uh, it being said, this much time has passed. I had wanted to come on sooner than later, but I couldn't come on because I had started a new gig, and then that was taking a lot of my time because obviously now things are going back to normal. So overall, less I was trying to show the pics, trying to be a little bit more ready with doing more of a better presentation on the beginning of my podcast. But obviously, I'm always resorting to rather talking more than showing pictures, because my pictures are always um, not ready. So let me back up. The idea was to show some of these, share some of these pics of how serious this flood was, and I think it just comes to show on, you know, I mean, the river being up to the bridge, and this is just like July 3rd or July 4th. So I mean, it being July 3rd or 4th, maybe I think it could have been in the second, but a lot of that led up to that point of where the flash flood occurred, and a lot of people passed because they got swept away by flash flood. So I just wanted to start off. I kind of stumbled there at the beginning, but I just wanted to come on and just explain, paying my respects to all the families that are going through what they're going through. Um, I don't know. I couldn't even comprehend or perceive what a lot of these families are struggling with losses of their children. So prayers, my prayers to all the families, my prayers to uh, everybody who's going through this right now, and and it's just a sad situation. So I didn't want to, and then also I just kind of wanted to announce that they are, a Salvation Army here in Houston. A lot of, if you can, obviously you just look on the internet. There's a lot of drop off spots if you want to drop off. I guess I mean, there's a GoFundMe. I know there's some type of GoFundMe, but you got to be careful on some of those GoFundMe's. So there's ways to donate. Um, I'm not even sure exactly what they would need, um, but I mean, I'm sure even if it was like $20 or $40 to some legit GoFundMe that's actually going to them, I'm sure that would help out a lot, because I know there's still a bunch of damage. They got uh, pretty much left nothing, with that flash flood that hit the river. Um, 'Cause I know some people do live by the river. Um, so I mean, sometimes it's their second home, or and this is just when recently, about I don't know, about 2 years ago, I went to the Guadalupe River, and I was more towards New Braunfels, pretty much by New Braunfels, where we went to the Guadalupe. And a lot of people don't understand that in Texas, in these parts right by the river, where you get close to the river, it's kind of off where you have to go to get to these nice parts. It's not like almost where you just come off the freeway and then you just drive down the street and then boom, you're there. Maybe in some cases on some of these rivers, but I feel that whole Camp Mystic was just a very uh, yeah, I mean, it's been all over, and there's been a lot of articles already printed stating how it was just definitely in a wrong low lying area, and and what happens, what happened, and it's just sad because it was a very low lying area, and then most of the time when the rain does rain in those valleys, it just goes down, up, down, and it just funnels, and it's just so sad. So, but what I was getting at is the fact that getting to these nice places like Camp Mystic, it's very hard to get to some of these places. There's only like one road in, one road out, and then obviously it's opposite lanes passing each other to get down there. But it's not very uh logistics wise is not very in and out where you're just in and out. So a lot of people were saying different things about they should have known or they could have found out, but I'm not even going to go there with that. What I am going to go with is that even if they had a heads up, I don't know, it's just very hard to get in and out of there already. So so just I just wanted to start off the episode with just paying my condolences and my prayers to all the families and anybody that's affected by what happened in San Antonio. I mean, I'm sorry, San Antonio, in Kirk County. I don't know what was making me think of San Antonio. Um, so yeah, so um, I wanted to show another pic. No, not that one. I wanted to show this one. So I have another one that I was gonna show. Mm. So this is another one where, like, I believe, no, 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 nope. Oh, yeah, this one. This was the one that tripped me out. Yeah, check that out. That's just crazy. I don't think anything could have had stand a chance. So when I was overseas, I did get to go to a place called Fifi Islands, and Fifi Islands is off like they're like very small islands where you have to actually go like pretty far off from Phuket. Um, it's a part of Thailand that's pretty much, I guess, it would be facing west. So I would say it's the west side of Thailand, in Thailand, which is in the east part of the world, but going west. So, anyways, um, from Indonesia, Bali, which it got hit the hardest from this tsunami. Um, it rippled down, obviously, down to the Fifi Islands, and then where I went to the Fifi Islands, it was almost similar to something like this, where um but the tsunami of the water came into the island, and all I remember was a story about the guy who said he had friends who got washed away, and it was just like the only reason he survived because he was on the top of a tree or something. And even then, I didn't even know that this was one of the islands. I didn't even know that when I went to Phuket, I did not even know that that place had a year and a half prior had just gotten hit by a tsunami, and then they had kind of rebuilt. But what got hit hardest was not the Phuket where I was at one point, but it was the other part of the Fifi Islands. And the Fifi Islands is where it was very similar to something like this where the water just takes everything. And obviously I'm sure everybody knows about uh there's those videos out there of Fifi Islands or Phuket where all this water just rushed in, but Fifi Islands was like way off to the side, and then it got hit pretty bad. um and there's like this brief time where I do remember where uh the I don't know, it was just very eerie because there was, like, buildings that had half walls that fell off, and it was, like, walls that were standing up, almost looked like ruins in a way, and out there, there's not no light, like, where you're going t around the island, there's no cars there. So on these islands, there's no cars. It's just like little, like small towns, and they have like internet, and they have like but to go from your hotel or your place wherever it's at on the island, you have to walk there. So it's real weird. It's like all like it's like a walkable resort, but it's like multiple resorts and different things, clubs and all types of stuff on there. So it's pretty cool. So my point was, it was kind of that atmosphere. So when that tsunami came in, yeah, it did a lot of damage. So my point is, I just compared to catastrophic like a earthquake. I mean, I feel it's, I mean, it's just very sad that it took this toll. I mean, it was before July 4th weekend, and it was just wow. So yeah. So on to the next story. But like I said, my prayers to everybody that's that got affected by that. I mean, it kind of affected me. I got pretty down about it because I was just like couldn't even just imagine. Um, and then so I was gonna show y'all. So, and then the fighting news, which is I'm not too excited to even talk about this one. And uh, I didn't want to even go into politics yet, but I wanted to go into this. And I just kind of was gonna say a little rant about what, maybe how it's not nobody's fault that this can happen to you, or you get into this type of situation. But when you get in this type of situations, I don't know. I guess, yeah, everybody's on their own. Everybody's a grown person. Everybody makes their own choices, which obviously, you know, but it's really sad when people have very good skills at something they do, and they're very well off, and then it just comes crashing down because of the fact that of making just a wrong choice. And even considering if what was done, but I don't know. It's just I would think because you have one side of where you don't have to worry about financial things in a sense, but you might not be in a right place, or it could also be where somebody just tells you something that hurts you so bad that you react and you just kind of flip and you snap. So either or, what my point is, I'm getting into the next story, and you're gonna see what I mean by making the right choices. You come to this, you know, point in the road, and this point in the road, either you're gonna go left or you're gonna go right. And even it's down to these two choices, and these two choices, it's basically this could be bad if I go right, or it could maybe be avoidable if I go left. And we're all human, we've all been there. It's just like I said, it's just very sad when I see talent kind of be jeopardized because of just something of a wrong choice, or something you just get involved in, and then it just trickles from there. So what I was getting at was Devontae went into so um so I'll show you. Yep. Javante Davis arrested for battery. So this article pretty much explained he um I want to show his picture. So what happened with, it was Father's Day. So this charge came up um from Father's Day, and hold on. Mhm. Yeah, so he went to go pick up his son, or his two kids, from the baby's mother's house, And when he went over there was obviously an altercation or something happened, and I guess he decided to say, "Hey, go ahead and just keep him." And obviously, that's what was painted, on the whole situation of this is what I'm reading in the article. So the article explains that as the mom went to the back to get the kid, um, she had to like kind of bend over in the back of the seat to get the kid, and he started hitting her. Now I'm just basing on what the article said, but uh, I mean, who knows, and who really knows, and this is his second domestic abuse case. So I don't know. It's just this is what I was saying. It's just sad. And then obviously he just came off that loss. Um, I think it's Roach. Yeah, I can't even forget it. Can't I forgot his name. Yeah, I got it right here. So yeah, he just came off that loss, which he had uh, a winning streak going for a minute, and then there was the controversial draw that happened. Um, And Lamont, Roach. I was right. Roach Jr. So there was a controversial draw, and he obviously said he had oil in his eye, and that's why he didn't perform like he usually performs. But see, this is. I mean, I'm not even. I'm just. I hate to say I'm using this as an example. But the example of what I mean is uh, Javante Davis. Like he definitely he's a very skilled boxer, and he's very talented, man. And it's just sad when I see young guys or guys get tied up in situations with uh with some women, and these women either some and like I said, don't I'm not putting women to blame here, but I'm saying they it's I guess everyone wants to say the word toxic, It's like a very uh, toxic situation, and then it gets thrown on another level when there's kids involved, and then um, and like I said, maybe both of them weren't in the right place. Maybe both of them were just cannot be around each other. But then but it's just sad, because now he's I'm sure this is going to delay his debut for another fight, or maybe like he could have fought Rhodes Jr. again, and whether that was lining up or not, who knows? I'm not even sure if that was even the case, but my point is, I mean, not everybody's perfect, and apparently, this is where it's falling up from Father's Day, from him just picking up his children. Uh, so I just wanted to point out how not very not very cool that Javante's in jail, you know. So and then on to the next story. On to the next story. So I got that. Got that. Man, I might just do 30 minutes a day. 'Cause- So I do have a new gig now. So which is what's delayed me to do these every Friday. I'm just glad that I made it back on here. I'm very glad that I am uh, trying to still promote my TST Live, which is my podcast live series, and it's one of those things where I got in the flow of it, and then I still keep trying to keep producing material. But then when I try to produce this material, um, it gets kind of overwhelmed by more material that comes out and then more. And I'm meaning by material, I'm meaning like all these stories that just pop up. Um, like I said, when I was keeping it flowing, this is the beginning of the summer. I wanted to come on here and talk about O'Malley's situation, and I couldn't even do that because then the LA riots started, and then I was like, oh man, that's happening. I was like researching about a lot about that, and then what's really happening over there, like why or what, and then boom, I started the new job, and it's like what, and then oh yeah, then there's Iran, we're bombing Iran, and it's like what, on to the next thing. And then, oh yeah, the next thing, President Trump announces that the UFC is going to be held at the White House. It's like what? um, and then with all the tragedy that's been happening lately too, July 4th was uh, everybody's shooting everywhere, shooting up. It's just it's just crazy times. Um, John Jones coming back from retirement because of the UFC possibly being held at the White House. So my point is, it's just jumping around everywhere with all this crazy news over here, news over there. Just every day, there's always just. I mean, I don't know if it has to do with because Trump is in office or what, but I mean, it's to the point where it's just a lot of things. I feel it's a lot of history is being made. And then, like I said, what I was referring to earlier, there's something going on in the White House right now. I don't even want to get into it because I've just little things I've heard or little things that I've seen just recently. And whether that's true or not, I'm not sure. Um, then we got Puff Daddy, finally that case, So these last 3 weeks, I had been wanting to, um, in a sense, I had wanted to. Uh, be talking about these same stories, but it was almost like it was just like uh very overwhelming, because of everything going on. So that's why I kind of wanted to just come on and just kind of throw the dedication to what happened in the floods um and it's just sad, because I mean the damage that it did, I don't think anything could have really. I mean, yeah. I mean, a lot of things could have been, you know, better warnings of, the technology was there for it. Um, Javante, he ain't gonna be at it no more. Um, so I don't know. Um, I mean, what can we do? I mean, I don't think anything can predict anything anymore. People can talk about different, I guess, situations that could have been this could have been done. Another thing that actually that I guess where I can bring up going back to the floods again. Yeah, no, actually I'm not going to go there because there were some things, but I will mention that there were some things on Facebook that people were writing or and tying and just going straight to politics. And all I got to say to that is tying in a like some people's tragic losses and then flipping it and throwing a comment toward talking about reasons and possible and what could have been. Yeah. And so what I'm commenting on is just that um is I didn't go there. I just went straight to, and I'm still going there. I'm still just going paying respects, and that's it. Nothing, paying respects, and that's it. But I guess what I was getting at is that all these other things, with all these other things happening, it's just fueling everything. Uh, it's just, yeah, I just feel it's fueling everything, and then everything's getting, and then people are trying to tie it in, and then it's like, what are you doing? Like, it has nothing to do with that. And yeah, it's just it trips me out on how people bring things into other things, and they blame this for that and that for this, and it's just like, just can y'all just give it a break? Like, it's cool. Like, I mean, in a sense, meaning like it's cool. Just leave it alone. It has nothing to do with you. I mean, if you didn't lose anything, then why are you speaking for others when you didn't have any type of loss, like, compared to what the people are going through right now? I mean, look at all these trees. That's crazy. Like, all those trees, and they look small. So I mean, I can't believe, man, a lot of water everywhere. Julio Cesar Chavez gets arrested after fighting Jake Paul in Los Angeles. Uh, yeah, yeah. I mean, he got arrested, and yeah, this is coming from a message on the board. Um, yeah, I knew about the Astros whooping on him too, but I was going back to the Cesar Chavez thing. Actually, you just reminded me because I yeah, I thought that was kind of strange too, how they did Julio Cesar Chavez like that. You know, they waited to pretty much he had his Jake Paul fight, and then after the Jake Paul fight, like a week later, then he gets deported. But apparently, he had charges pending in Mexico, as far as I heard. I'm not sure. So there was also reasons behind it as well. So I don't know. I'm just basing it on what I had saw briefly, and I'm only laughing because I know he had something going on somewhere, and that's what led to them going out of their way. But they did let him have that fight, and maybe he already knew he was going to get arrested, and then he's like, hey, well, at least let me make some money, and then after I make some money, then I can bounce. I'm sure he made some good money on Jake Paul, you know, even though he did lose. But whatever, he did show up to fight him. He didn't avoid it, so I gave him that much. Um, on to the next, on to the next, on to the next, on to the next, on. So everybody knows about Superman coming out. Superman. It's like the 20th Superman. I don't even know, like, you know. Oh, oh, this ain't Superman. This is Cassie. And this is Puff Daddy. This is not Superman. Well, since I'm here, no, I'm just joking. I did this on purpose. I am going to talk about Superman later. But yes, so this is a actual. I think they use chalk when they do it. There's an actual chalk drawer in there that does chalk drawing of these. And I think it's either. I mean, I'm sure there's not a paintbrush or something, but um, this is during the testimony where she had to go. Obviously, she was pregnant. She went in there, and one of the first ones. So going back to Puff Daddy, Puff Daddy is waiting for his sentencing. He was, I guess, the other charges were dropped. He got charged with trafficking. Uh, yeah, I think trafficking and then also prostitution. So, and then the other charges, yeah. So now he thought he was gonna be able to go to home, but no, they still, voided giving him bond, and now he's still in there. So now he's asking for his sentencing to be given to him a lot more quicker. So I don't know. I really don't care for that guy anymore. I don't know. My other rant on him is the fact that when you get that when you get to that point, I guess maybe eh, how can I put it? I guess you pretty much become the most okay, what I'm saying is to get into this mindset of doing the things that he did to this girl, Cassie, and them talking about it, and then him have family know what he did in his personal. I mean, it's just so weird, and it's kind of just this guy got to the point where he just did everything, and man, this Cassie just was just like, what? Like, why? But I guess she, from the Cassie, from the Me and You song to the uh her walking down that red carpet, and I guess it all, I mean, it's just very split on I'm sure there's a lot more that really wasn't detailed, but I mean, what could have been left out? Oh, so there's prostitute. Yeah, it's prostitution. They I mean I mean, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, that's New York State. New York is pretty harsh up there. Everybody knows that. I mean, it's just what gets me is the details on the details of what he did, what he had other guys do to her, and vice versa. Um, I did one night an open mic, and I got, you know, joke went the wrong way, but it was leading up to the fact of saying, how this situation was just wrong all the way around. It was just weird and just um oh, yeah, okay. Well, I guess it's Me and You. Okay. Yeah, whatever the song was. No, I have a so y'all can message me, and then I try to still respond to them. Um so when I do respond, I do try to respond. So anyways, yeah, so I don't know what's gonna happen. So next week we should be hearing what's finally gonna happen with Puff Daddy. How many? If he's gonna get years or um, obviously his business is all out there now of what he likes, how he likes it, why he likes it. um, it's just like I said, it's just a weird to get to that level of being again successful, and it's a very it's I still almost compare, you know almost being in high school, and when you're in high school, so when and then you got kids who are cool, and then everybody thinks they're the cool ones, and they got it all figured out, and then there's different classes. These people hang out with these people. I still feel that plays out, even when it comes to a backing up and the real world scenario where you have, famous stars, famous people, and then everybody else is just everybody else, which is just regular people. And then everybody wants to go into these parties, and everybody wants to go into these clubs, and everybody wants to um go into these places and be part of these elite parties where they can go and they can, be cool and say, "Yeah, I was at a Puff Daddy concert and it was awesome." Yeah, and then coming to find out, it's just they're weirdos. They're on another level. It's just I don't know. And then the other thing that trips me out too is the fact that Jennifer Lopez, she's never came out to say anything at all. And and I thought that was weird. She was out here crying or at Kamala's doing the speech, you know, saying who we should vote for and this and that. She's crying, and then while the whole time she has this dude, that she used to date and be very close to, get all these charges thrown at him, and also used to beat up Cassie. Whether I don't, my point is she was associated with him. So, I mean, and, I mean, it's just a lot of people were associated with him. And I think it's still um, messed up that they did, you know, it got to this point, um, and I have to say, I want to go into the Epstein, but I'm saving that for for another episode because the Epstein, that's another thing I could go into right now, and I might go into it. Before I just wanted to get onto two other stories. Because then somebody else at work had said, "Oh yeah, well if they let Puff Daddy off or Puff Daddy get off, then they need to let R. Kelly off." So I was like, "Oh, I don't know about that one," but yeah, I just feel, you know. You get to that level, and I guess Puff Daddy thought he was untouchable. Nobody would find out, or things would just always be. And my belief still is that yeah, he, with after that lawsuit with Ciroc and all that, he kind of ruffled the wrong feathers on somebody, and then it trickled down, and this is what got him to where he's at now. It's almost just you're already rich. How much more richer can you get? I don't get it. And I understand, you know, when you get to that level, it's like, yeah, get more and more and more. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know if money is just what ruins everybody eventually, or it gets you to that point, or it's just not everything that everybody thinks it is, or I don't know, because everybody talks about, uh, especially now with the big beautiful bill is being passed, and that's being passed now, and um, the rich is going to apparently be benefiting way more than the middle class and the lower class. So, um, I mean, it's just and then that goes into what I was saying earlier that there's just so much information going around, so many things, so many things to talk about. Uh, where do you start, and then what connects to what? But hope. I mean, yeah. I mean, I hope he gets to spend time with his family. I'll give Puff Daddy that. Obviously his family loves him. They were very supportive of him in his court, but that, hey, it's kind of weird that you had to talk about all your personal deals and your mom there too, man. Like, I'm sure his mom was just like what? Um. So another thing. Oh man, that's not a good one. It's not a good one. I had wanted to. So I go and get this story out of the way, and this story is what gets me. Like, okay, now they're being a little too. Uh, like I'm like, yo, I think they're being a little too sneaky now. So they started this whole it's alligator Alcatraz. Have you heard of it? So now I think they're getting a little carried away. All right, I wanted to go ahead and come on and just also mention this. And when it comes to this, my dad told me this story, and this story I think would be very relative to what is going on, and I guess the story just resonates with me because of what had happened, and I'm not going to be specific on who the people are, but in general, back in it was like in the 30s. No, I'm sorry. It was probably like 50s, 40s or 50s, and my dad explained to me that they were deporting people, and they were going to deport this mother and father. And when they were about to deport him, he told him that if you're going to deport me, then go get my sons, and then you bring them here, and then we all go together back to Mexico. And I thought that was like kind of a very hard hitting point of sacrifice during that time, which I think those times is a lot different than these times. And the only reason I say it's different is because it's different because more of I mean, they were about to deport this man and his wife while his two sons were actually serving in the military. And it had to be one of the I think it was probably World War II. Um, and I know it happened in the 40s or I probably 30s so it was a story passed on. But what stood out to me was that what the border patrol did, they ended up listening to him. And I mean, I don't know how it worked at the time, but I mean, it made sense, and I'm sure maybe they possibly did verify that that he wasn't lying, and they didn't deport him. And I just thought, it's just like saying, hey, my sons are paying going, serving this country, um, for everybody's freedom here. So that's why I'm kind of split in between about what's going on because Um, I was gonna try to show this picture of alligator Alcatraz, but this alligator Alcatraz is just a very weird scenario where it's like, there are other these I just they're getting a little carried away, pretty much what I'm saying. And then to name this place Alligator Alcatraz, you know. But I guess what I will show the architects of everything going on. And if anybody doesn't know, these are the architects. And um all right, there we go. If no surprise. So that's Stephen Miller and that's Stephen Bannon. And from the understanding is that most of this hardcore immigration, all this hardcore illegal illegals are saying, that they need to be, you know, taken away to the alligator Alcatraz to these, um, is because of Bannon and Mr. Miller there. They're the hard and see, obviously Bannon's not even in the office, but he is, and that's and that's the deputy below. I mean, he's the one. Steve Miller's is in the Trump administration. Um, Trump is just pretty much he's and my belief is, yeah. I mean, so he's kind of, I hate to say, he's Bannon's little puppet, and Bannon's real hardcore about getting every um, illegal out of here. So, like I said, I'm just being transparent of what's really behind it, and also, from what I've read and from what I understand, we have Stephen Miller, who everybody knows is in the Trump administration. He's like kind of almost, they're saying he's like the architect of what is going on with his, facilities, and going to these different places and just ringing up people as if it's, like I say, compared to back to the early 1900s, where, it was very hardcore then too, Um, but I mean, I understand everybody wants to be in America, and I understand America is the beautiful, and I've been overseas to different countries, um, and yeah, I love this place. I love America. There's not nowhere else that I would want to live besides America. Um, so it's just, and I've heard this too, also, because you know, um, people have said, well, it's not my job to police that or do that. Well, I mean, I hate to say it, but that's what the ISIS job is, and they got families to feed, they have children, they got things they got to do, and then, because they pretty much got this Stephen Miller and Bannon, who are the ones who are really kind of doing the. I mean, like I said, now understand Bannon's not even in office, but I know he's in. It's been said that him and Miller are kind of, that's their deal. Get everybody out. Make a statement. So yeah, I mean, it's just because there was also some other things where they're showing a lot of different videos and different things that are depicting what's been going on. So it's been kind of hardcore in everybody's face. So I don't think I'm gonna have time to get into the. Well. There's the New Mexico flash flood that did happen, um, and that happened in New Mexico. I can't even say the place where it's at. Starts with an R, but pay my respects to them as well. Well, I'm not sure. I know there was like a few deaths over there as well with that flash flooding. So people aren't saying anything about that one. They're pretty much saying about Texas. But like I said, I'm not trying to go down that avenue about that. But pay my respects also to that. Um, and then, and if y'all can, please subscribe. Please like. Please like. It helps me out. It really does. On to the next story. And people work with me because, this is kind of going to be more of a live event every week. And I have almost compared to an outline, but not really. My outline is kind of here and there. But the outline, man, where is it at? Oh yeah. Da da da. Who would want to see this in the White House front lawn? Wouldn't that be crazy? I would watch it. I asked some other people that would watch it. They'd be like, "Nah, I ain't watch." I was like, "It's at the White House." And then if John Jones is headlining that one, and you already know Dana White's going to put him on that one, and he's going to headline that one, and then John Jones are hopefully going to come in and knock out Tom Espinal. So, who knows? It's going to be Jones and Espinal. You know, that'll be a pretty good fight to see the White House. And then I've had other people say, "Yeah, that'll be the one I'm gonna miss." Be like, "Yeah, sure." I'm not gonna say who said that, but I was like, "Really? You would miss the fight because it's at the White House? Like, really?" I mean, I don't know. It's just because I like UFC. I like UFC. I love all types of mixed martial arts. So I don't know. I don't know how to put it. You know, it's kind of my, and then I'm kind of into politics a little bit. So, hey, I mean, I don't know. So, my bad if that's not a good thing. I don't think that's anything different from a correspondence dinner or anything different from uh, anybody just trying to do something different other than just the normal deal every day. Uh, so yeah. So yeah, I thought it'd be pretty cool that actually would happen. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Um, and back to the UFC thing. Dana White hasn't for surely confirmed it, and understand, like he already came out in full send podcast. The Nug Boys, shout out to the Nug Boys. Y'all have good content, man. And Kyle always does real good. I like the fact that he's doing the thing solo now. So anyways, back to yeah, so Dana White really hasn't confirmed because he was mentioning in there that to do all the background checks to even get people in there would be ridiculous. So it would probably be just specifically people, yeah, the higher ups, I guess all the rich people there, like what they're saying. So I don't know. It'd be interesting if that was to happen. It'd be something else to make fun of and talk about and make jokes about. But I thought that would be pretty funny having UFC at the White House. All right, everybody. Well, that was another episode. This was episode 37. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see y'all next Friday for sure. Next Friday. Hold me to it. Please put me down. Hold me to the episode. Please. I mean, I'm just so busy. It's just hard to keep this flowing. But I love to come on here. I love to have this episode continue going. So thank you, everybody, for TSD Live, episode 37. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Oh yeah, shout out to hey, no, you know what? Shout out to the Navy. Yeah, before I go, shout out to the Navy. That's what I'll shout out to. And then I'll shout out to all of